Hi everybody, welcome to 10 Backward. My name is James, and I'm of course joined by...
Ron McAdams.
Hey Ron, how you doing?
I'm doing really well. How are you doing, sir?
Oh, new episode. I'm excited to talk about the episode we watched and some news along the way. And we wanted to just bring it back to, this is 10 Backward. We appreciate you joining us and listening along, and what's the point of the show? You want to explain a little bit of that, Ron?
I just want to thank people. I mean, if you're back here for the second week, that means you have like way more constitution than I maybe suspected that you would have. But the premise of our show is that since we could not bear the idea of watching Encounter at Farpoint as part of a Star Trek viewing project, we are starting at the tail end of the Next Generation saga and working backwards.
Yeah, that's right. And we're called 10 Backward mainly to... it's a little nod to the bar 10 Forward that all the officers and crew and families of the Enterprise would hang out in and have a good time and have some, bend Guinan's ear a little bit. And at sometimes it was Data, wasn't it? At the 10 Forward Lounge? Yeah.
Sure. I mean, it's just pretty much anybody. But, if you are a big fan of Whoopi Goldberg and 3D chess, it is the place to be on the Star Trek Enterprise.
That and bad composite shots. I think the worst I've seen in a long time were on 10 Forward.
Yeah.
If
you
great.
like late 80s blue screen work, it's the place to be.
Well, that's great.
So let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
So, if someone wants to participate, what is the easiest way to do that? Would you say to just go out on Netflix and start with that episode at the very end of Season 7 where Jonathan Frakes basically bookends the whole series?
No. You start at All Good Things and watch that. And this week, if you're a listener who would like to participate with us, we are watching Preemptive Strike. And if you want to comment on that or send us anything, you can message us at 10 backward, that's 10, and then the word backward, at gmail.com.
I'm sure that one or both of us even have personal Twitter accounts where people could tell us how we're ruining their childhoods.
That is true. I am at Spleenball, SPLEANBALL.
And I am at Tyrantulus.
All right. Tyrantulus, what made you pick that name? I'm curious now.
It's a reference to that short-lived 90s Transformers Beast Wars show. Yeah, aren't you sorry you asked?
I am very sorry. Let's move on to Hailing Frequencies. Hailing Frequencies, we talk about news and upcoming information about anything in the Trekkiverse, and we're looking at the Deep Space Nine fan documentary that was on Indiegogo. And I know, Ron, you looked up some of this stuff?
Yeah, I'm actually kind of excited about it because, Next Gen gets all the love in the Star Trek universe.
And rightfully so.
Yes, I agree.
Rightfully
However, DS9 isn't a terrible show. It's lots of people like it. Some people even like it better than Next Gen. But they were able to secure some crowdfunding off Indiegogo, and there's going to be a full-fledged fan documentary that's going to cover all 7 seasons of the show. Cast changes, they've got basically everybody back, including some of the more tougher to get people that are out working doing other stuff. So I think Avery Brooks,
like Leonard Nimoy,
he's not working as much these days, but I think Avery Brooks even finally decided that he's going to sign on and do some things. He's always the holdout. He's waiting for that Spencer for Hire money, but yeah, so it'll be kind of fun to see everybody. They had Armin Zimmerman. Actually, there's kind of a cool little trailer that they did for the documentary where they're all they're at a con or something like that. They kind of meet in a hotel room and all sit around and kind of talk about some good times and then about funding the Indiegogo campaign. So it's kind of fan service, but at the same time, it's like seeing old friends. So
yeah, and I saw they got Terry Farrell and who played Dax.
They must have coughed up some Becker money.
Oh, that's good. I like
that's
that.
right. If you like
Becker
jokes
money.
about 90s CBS sitcoms, I'm your guy.
Okay, true story. I remember I went to a concert. It was Flogging Molly, And I didn't know any of the opening acts, and so I was kind of pleasantly surprised. And one of them, I looked at this lead singer, and I'm like, who is this guy? I know I've seen him before. He looks so familiar. He was the blind guy on Becker.
I've never actually seen Becker. I know that it has Ted Danson and Terry Farrell.
I love that you referenced the joke, but you've never seen it.
It's one of those things where you don't actually have to have watched it. Yeah, I did my time on Cheers. So I have paid my Ted Danson dues.
Yeah, paid your Ted. So did the rest of the world. A little bit of him goes a long way. But let's curve this back towards the matter at hand. Looks like they raised more than $575,000 for the...
I'm pretty excited. They, so this is not going to be somebody with a shaky cam chasing...
No.
Trying to chase Nana Visitor as she's walking through Whole Foods. This is going to be a legitimate... documentary. They might even get Cole Meany to come on there and scream at people in Irish profanities. You never know.
I would love that to happen, by the way. That would be great. And then they bring back Keiko to like grab his arm and be like, "Don't do it."
You know, the ringtone on my phone is Cole Meany screaming the F word. I mean, it's tough in church, but the rest of the time the right audience gets it.
Now, are they going to get the commander's son for this? I'm hoping to get the commander's son. I don't know
it's
his
Jake
name,
Sisko, but I'm sure he has a real name.
Jake Sisko.
I'm pretty sure that when the show wrapped, he did just say, "You know what? It's so much trouble for fans to know what my real name is. I'm just going to go to the Social Security office." That's true.
It is. Because when I look at Patrick Stewart, I immediately think, Captain Picard.
Oh, because I immediately think I Claudius, but that's okay.
Oh, well, we that's the difference between you and I.
I know, I've got more BBC sensibilities.
Oh boy. Well, is there a time frame on when that's going to be released? The documentary.
Trademark soon.
Okay. There's that to look forward to.
Here's the thing. It doesn't really matter. I could say it was happening anytime because there's going to be some person that's going to listen to this and they're going to say, "Well, shit, that happened like 2 years ago." And there's going to be somebody else that's like, "Oh, I can't wait. It's happening in 2 years." So either case, it's soon or it's already done. So,
it's already happened and it's old news. Or
old news is old news on a long enough timeline.
That is very true. Do we want to jump right into our away mission, our episode discussion?
Yeah, I want to talk about Preemptive Strike. It's, I will say that it is the best episode of Season 7 that we've seen so far. Of both of the episodes that we've seen of Season 7, it's the best
that is
one
true.
I've seen so far. But here's the thing. If you love the idea of seeing Michelle Forbes on Star Trek, then this is the episode for you.
That is true. I was... This one really started off kind of weird for me. Like, just the framing of how everything went down. And, it was a good show. I think it showed a lot of the acting chops of Ensign Ro. I think... they really try hard to show the issue of who the Bajorians are and how they react to Cardassians, and they do it better, in my opinion, with Deep Space Nine, because that's really a big issue, more than they do for Next Gen. But I think this is the Cardassian Bajoran Next Gen episode.
Well, the thing to keep in mind is that
that we've seen so far.
Yes, that we've seen so far. The thing to keep in mind is that there's already been 2 seasons of DS9 that have aired.
By this point, okay.
So anything that we are seeing, they are expecting you to have other reading outside the series.
That's not a very smart thing to do.
No, especially since the first 2 seasons of DS9 are probably like some of the weakest stuff they did. So, basically we've got, and again, if you're looking at this with fresh eyes, you've never seen this before, you're just like, who's this lady with the crinkle cut nose that everybody seems to love? And it's Ensign Ro. Yeah. So, our episode opens up where we see there's some explanation that she has just come back from advanced technical training at Starfleet Academy.
Yeah.
Which really was just a cover story for her to shoot Swimming with Sharks with with Kevin Spacey. So she's off.
Yeah.
She's off doing movies, and they were like, "Oh, we're wrapping up the series, and we got this Ensign Rose script here. If we don't shoot it, we're never going to get to shoot it." So they bring her in. Actually, side note while we're talking, if people don't know, they really wanted Michelle Forbes to be Nana Visitor's character on DS9. They wanted her to be... Oh,
really?
Yeah, Kira. But she was like, I don't know about all this Star Trek-y stuff. I got other things I want to do. I'm a real actress. I don't want to get stuck in a 7-season contract with Paramount.
You know what? I'm going to go on to be in The Killing, and it's going to, like, totally blow the first season, so... You know what? It's cool.
So, she's back from advanced technical training, she's back from advanced tactical training, and they're having a party for her in, of all places, 10 Forward.
10 Forward.
Yeah, it's our party set.
And she looks so uncomfortable to be there. She walks in that room and she sees Troy, Crusher, and is it LaForge? I think it's LaForge, and... they're like, oh, welcome back. We're so glad to have you back. Thanks for, we're really happy to see you. And then she's like, oh, you guys, hi.
She's like, I blocked you guys on Instagram for a reason.
And then the captain leaves the room. Like, Picard is in the room, and then he just leaves.
Well, hold on. Like, but she's, looking at him. Like, she's trying to catch his eye. Yeah. She's, waving her hand and kind of, whoa, Mr. Captain, sir. And he runs outside, and then immediately gets on the horn and is like, Ensign Rowe, get your ass to the bridge.
Well, first off, I have to commend you on your beautiful horse shack. That was lovely. And so Picard calls her to the bridge, and she leaves 10 Forward, and Picard is just standing immediately outside of 10 Forward, and she's like, oh, it's really good to see you again. And he's like, well, it seems like you just didn't want to, I know you like the party, but it seems like you wanted to have a more private one-on-one with people. And that's where she's like, yeah, I wanted one-on-one with people. And then right as they're about to have a short conversation, Commander Riker reports that there is a ship that is needing help, that is calling out for help.
Yeah, and it's not like somebody that they would normally go and help either. It's a Cardassian vessel.
It is.
And they're like, who's attacking these guys? And so they science it up a bit, and they're like, well, let's check their warp signatures. And it's like, because they're not reporting whatever, they're not broadcasting whatever their ship numbers are or something. They can't read, there's some schmutz on the main screen. They can't read their license plates. So they check their warp signatures, and lo and behold, it's the
Maquis. It is Starfleet, it's Federation ships that are attacking the Cardassian ship.
It's disgruntled, it's Tea Party Starfleet people.
It's what this is like? This is like if the people of Insurrection got just tired of being moved around and pushed to the point where they just got ships.
Well, and that's honestly, okay, here we go. Spoilers going all the way back. Because there's a bunch of episodes like this all through the Star Trek canon.
Oh, there is. There's a ton of them.
It's a super popular trope of, here's some colonists and they're getting pushed around and now they're pissed off and they decide that they're going to fight back. It's the whole plot for... for Insurrection.
It's Insurrection.
You're right.
Yeah.
And then that episode where Worf's brother shows up and they're trying to move some people on the holodeck.
And the Native American episode.
Yeah, exactly. They've done it so many times.
Here's what I hate about when they do these episodes. The colonists are always, even if they're Federation people like they are on this planet, they always seem like they're backwoods. They don't have any further technology except for... a replicator, and that's in ships, and that's it. Everything else is like, here's my stone hovel. Let me make you up some tea with my replicator.
Yeah, and that does seem true. They seem like people that just don't want to live on Earth because they've heard really good things about Rigel 7 because they've got an amazing Chamber of Commerce video.
I guess.
So they're like, come on out. Give Rigel 7 a try. It's a great place to bring your kids up. There's always hope for the new series. That might be something they do on Discovery. Fingers crossed.
Oh my god. That'd be great if that were true. Like, if somebody actually thought of doing that for the show, that would have been phenomenal. Like, just release little vignettes. But yeah, they see that the Maquis are moving in to do a final shot at the Cardassian ship, and Picard has the ship shoot a photon torpedo between the ships and the Cardassian ship to withdraw the Maquis. And the Enterprise beams aboard some survivors that needed help, and Gulavek is there. And they talk about the issue in the sickbay and and they each kind of butt heads at, they're not doing enough to suppress the skirmishes in the DMZ.
Right. Because the complaint is, as it's been as part of this series, is that they renegotiated the treaty, so some land that was previously Federation territory got ceded over to the Cardassians, but the colonists that live there don't want to move. And we're going to probably say that like 10 times during the whole thing, because that's their whole argument.
Yeah, it's kind of again, like, for this being the second to last episode that they bring back this trope again. I mean, who wrote this episode?
I brought back Michelle Forbes again.
This was a Naren Shankar episode.
Yeah, Robbie's brother. But it's directed by Patrick Stewart, so
yeah,
he had to.
You can tell. I mean, this one's not shot horribly, not like some of them.
Yeah, and it's a Picard heavy episode too. It's basically, of all the bridge officers, you really just see Picard. Oh,
okay, that makes sense. Since for a later part of this episode, yes, that makes sense that Patrick Stewart directed it.
Yes, it does. We'll make a reference to that here in just a moment.
Just a second. But anyway, later.
Well, hold on. So now we just broke. We've basically covered all of our cold open. So now, Act 1.
Act 1, yeah, that's true. Yeah, we're Act 1. So Admiral Nechayev comes back, mm-hmm. and she's aboard the Enterprise, and she's having tea with Picard, and they're discussing the issues between the Cardassians and the Maquis and the DMZ, and it's funny because she looks down at her teacup, and Picard says something like, "You're worried about the situation, aren't you?"
Yes. And
I'm like, come on, man.
Well, it's just in case. It's for the blind viewers, like people who can't read, intention. They can't read the subtext of that. She basically furrowed her brow.
She didn't even do that. She just looked at her cup, and he's like, "Oh, you're so worried." But yeah, she says that she is worried, and the Maquis are small cells. They're scattered everywhere, and they can't track them down.
But we need somebody to go undercover, and I know the perfect person.
Yeah.
To go undercover, and who would that be?
Oh, I think it's Data.
Reginald Barclay. No, wait.
No. No, hold on. I know the perfect person to go undercover, and it's the pregnant nurse who lost her baby.
Oh, God. That doesn't happen until next week.
I know, that's true. Sorry. The pregnant nurse, then.
Spoilers!
I know, right? No, it's of course Ensign Rowe, and
because she just got trained conveniently for exactly the type of thing that they need her to go do.
Plot convenience.
Yeah. So they go ahead and they say, "Well, we're going to set you up to be like this sort of Federation outlaw person, and that'll be exactly who the Maquis want to bring into their organization. So we've got this bar we're going to send you to, and then we're going to have Worf and Data come in, and in the most stilted dialogue of the entire series."
It is so bad. It is so bad because they just walk in and they're like, "Did a woman with black hair come through here?" And he's like, "We will shut down this bar if nobody helps us."
Yeah, so basically they're like, here's your cover story, go. And immediately, because, this episode's only 42 minutes long, she bumps into exactly the Maki contact that she needs. So they kind of quiz her for a second, and then he pulls out a phaser and stuns her.
Yeah. Yeah. And, well, the other thing I love about that whole Data Wharf thing is just how, it's like, well, if nobody helps us, we're going to close this bar down. And then oh, she just left. Oh, okay, cool. We'll see ya.
Yeah, it's kind of like, oh, well, cover story established. Gotta go, guys.
If I was in that bar, I'd be like, that was weird.
Yeah, I would be like, that's kind of odd.
Why didn't they question anyone else?
Did the whitest man in the universe just walk in? I've heard so much about these Soong androids. What would one possibly be doing in our shithole bar?
He's whiter than Odo. How is that possible? That just shouldn't be possible. But I see him right here.
Did a man with a turtle shell on his head just walk through the door?
Oh my god!
So these xenophobic.
Yeah, sorry, I just had to bring that up because that was just one of the weird. You're right. It is some of the worst dialogue in the show because it's just so obvious.
It's like this is a very puerile ruse that you're attempting to execute on these separatists. So they stun her, and she wakes up and is in a room with people. They're grilling her. They're trying to figure out what she knows. Did she really kill this guy? Basically see what her murdering resume looks like. And
yeah, they get her information. They're like, well, we're going to go look into this. And they leave Ro with a man. What's the old guy's name?
It's Marcy.
It's
Marcus.
Isn't it Marcus or Macias?
It's Macias. Yeah, because he's the other half of that band with the Highway.
Oh, that's right. It's Kalita and Sam. Oh. So shut up, man. So the other two leave because they're gonna look into her history and find out who she is. They gotta
go run a credit check on her to make sure that she can get in. Because that first uniform, that Maki uniform, comes out of your first paycheck.
It's like, we don't know who you are, but we're gonna leave you with our leader.
Yeah. Well, they don't really make that clear.
So hopefully,
he could have just been somebody's grandpa.
That is true.
Okay, Grandpa, just remember the pointy end of the gun goes at the prisoner.
Yeah, right. Well, it's just how they were treating him. That's why I thought he was anyway.
So he stands up and he puts the gun down and he says, "Hey, girl, let's go hit Jamba Juice." So they walk outside into the outdoor set for this episode. And they talk and they're like, I had a friend that was Bajoran and he used to make this hot, spicy food.
Hasperat. And it looked like a Mediterranean wrap.
Yeah, it was like a pita wrap.
And Ro was like, you like that? Ooh, you're an intriguing fellow. My father used to make Hasperat on Bajor.
It was the hottest Hasperat.
It'd make your tongue go... She didn't say that, but there's a recreation of the conversation.
Yeah,
and so she kind of.
It was basically like, "Hey, do you like food? Because I like food too."
And it's the same food.
And we are best friends.
It really was, and it really that was an interesting conversation because Ro is a very strong character, and that one really kind of tore her down a little. That kind of took away some of her outer shell.
Yeah.
And she was like, I have connections now. This is connecting me to something my father used to do, which I find it hilarious because out of all the things she's done, no one else has been like, hey, let's have Hasperat.
Yeah, it's like all of her buddies back on the Enterprise, they put on that big spread in 10 forward, not one plate of Hasperat.
I know, there was that big Bajorian plant, though.
Yeah, they're just like, here, eat this raw
plant. No, sorry. It wasn't Bajorian, it was Betazed. It was a Betazed plant, I thought, wasn't it?
I don't remember.
We'll have to, yeah.
Yeah,
some plant.
I'm just saying that these people know nothing about Bajorans. They're just like, it would be like if we showed up on Bajor and they're like, hey, we heard how you guys like kale. Here's a whole plate full of kale.
Enjoy it.
Yeah. You know what? I want to watch you enjoy it.
It smells and tastes awful, but I hope to God you'll eat it, because it took a long time to get this kale here.
It's straight from the Gamma Quadrant.
Oh, God. So, So she kind of connects with Macias on her father and sees Macias as her own father figure in the process of their conversations.
Because daddy issues is a big theme in this episode, because the whole reason that she agrees to go on this mission is because she wants to impress Picard.
It is, yeah. She even says that several times, like, I want to make sure I earn your respect. And
I mean, it's written in the script several times, so she says several times. We have to make it clear.
Oh my god.
Because our audience, they've only been around for 7 seasons. They don't understand our motivations.
Oh, I hope they do.
So they walk through, and they're having their nice little talk. And the Maquis people come back and say, "Congratulations, your credit line's been approved."
And it was kind of like a weird way, too, because they're like, we have news to tell you about her. She passed!
Yeah, they're very chipper for a bunch of murderers.
Yeah, they totally are. And they talk about needing... They talk about having a... is this at the point where they talk about a convoy needing to be attacked?
Yes, because remember, the whole reason why they're mad is because they've gotten some communication that there is...
The biogenic weapons.
The biogenic weapons. But it's not just like somebody's bringing through this thing that's got like a big Mr. Yuck sign on it. It's like some Ferengis brought, this one component, and these Packlids brought this other component. And both of them are legal separate, but if you put them together... It's like this mutagenic, crazy virus that kills everything. So they're mad that the Cardassians are going to put chocolate in their peanut butter and wipe out their planet. So what they decide to do is they're going to hit this convoy. But they can't do it. We can't do it. We don't have enough medical supplies.
Yeah,
if only we knew someone with a Starfleet connection.
Here's my problem with that little, it's kind of a way to get Ro back to, prove who she is, how she's able to do all this stuff. But medical supplies?
Well, she was a member of the Bajoran Underground for years. So basically her entire backstory got recycled into Kira. So if you know what Kira's backstory, and she's a freedom fighter and all this type of stuff, that's supposed to be Ro's backstory as well. So she knows how to procure things and how to, arm a militia and how to fight back against the Cardassians. So she's got this sort of conflict in her as well. So it's daddy issue, conflict, and then it's also, am I really supposed to be helping these people that killed me or held me prisoner for 10 years in the camps back on Bajor?
Yeah, no, that's what I mean though is we need medical kits to fight the Federation or the Cardassians. We need medical kits to fight the Cardassians. If your ship blows up, you're just going to die anyway. So
there's space band-aids.
Space band-aids. That just seems like such a shoehorned kind of thing. We would fight if only we had med kits.
The hull's been breached. Pass me that nebula gauze.
I'm just saying, they couldn't think of anything else. Med kits just seems a little weak.
Here's a black box that I put a Red Cross symbol on and called it a day. So how are we going to get these medical supplies? Surely someone with Ensign Ro's background in espionage and tactical training could figure out an excellent plan to steal this. How would she do it?
Well, she would... first she says, give me a ship. I know the Enterprise. I can get aboard. I know all the security. I know the codes. I know the frequencies. So give me a ship and I'll go take care of this. And
they don't lock the gate until after 9 o'clock on Tuesdays. I can get you in.
Yes. I know the knock. There's a little secret knock you got to do on the hull, on the fourth deck. You just got to trust me here. There's a little portal that opens. We're good. But no, the lady Khalida, who is a member of the Maquis, is I don't trust her. What is she doing here? She could just be anybody. We can't give her a ship. I'm going because I want to witness this. And in true, in true Mad Max glory, Ro keeps going witness me. I'm but so they go out to the Topin system, her and Khalida, and they send out this distress signal that gets picked up by the Enterprise.
Because they are conveniently the closest ship to this distress signal.
In every Star Trek anything, the Enterprise is always the closest ship.
It actually would have been great if another ship would have been slightly closer, and they show up, and then they just get the ship blown out of them, because obviously none of their tricks were going to work. So it's by pure chance the Enterprise shows up. They're the ship that is going to be the one that they infiltrate. So they're hanging out in the radiation band of this star, which is cloaking their ship from being able to be detected. So the Enterprise rolls up and just parks. And is kind of like looking out the portholes, trying to find out where this ship in distress is at. So, and actually is again a really nice optical effect there, because there's this giant sun, and it's pulling off all this solar debris off the surface of the sun, and it's like slowly being siphoned down into like a little like white star. Or like maybe it's like a binary star system. They don't really say, and I'm not an expert on this.
Yeah,
it's a very pretty effect while we basically sit there and wait for things to happen. So they're parked there. They decide what they're gonna go in, and what do? They slide right in between the nacelles. Data sees them doing it, but he lets them slide in anyway, just like Tasha Yar.
Yeah, that is true. She sends off some kind of communication to the Enterprise, and Worf is like, "Oh, I think this is coming from Ro." And he's like, "Oh, it definitely is coming from Ro." So,
Captain, the communication is all garbled, but it has to be coming from Ro.
Yeah, it's in a roundabout way, and so Picard says, "Let her go through the shields. Don't change the modulation." So they go through the shields in between the nacelles, and they beam a stockpile of medical supplies onto the ship. And as they leave, to kind of show, like, the lady Khalida, like, "Oh, we're going to show it up, like, play it around," Picard tells Worf to fire phasers to make it look like the Enterprise is trying to stop them.
Yeah, like at their previous location, because they're bouncing a communication signal around or something, or they're bouncing the distress signal. So they shoot like they were trying to attack them, but they get off scot-free.
Yeah.
So now they trust Ro enough to let her, I guess, go on shore leave. So
yeah, they give her own ship because they trust her enough now.
So they're like, "Hey, we're not going to look at this the odometer or anything. You go for a joyride." So she goes out and she decides she's got to go back and check in at the Enterprise. So she goes back and is immediately has a meeting with Picard. And this meeting is, "I got a bunch of exposition I got to crank out. And since you directed this episode, if it's happening on the Enterprise, you're going to be in every scene."
Yeah.
So they go to the ready room and they pace back and forth and they talk about delivering the goods and about what the plans are of they're going to attack this convoy and they needed those medical supplies and what the next step is going to be.
Yeah. And so she goes back to the Maquis and tells them about a plan of a convoy that the Maquis would need to attack because they're carrying some military supplies, and the Federation would be waiting in a nearby nebula to arrest the Maquis in a trap.
Yes, they're going to wait until the merchandise exchanges hands, and then they're going to arrest the Maquis and C.B. McCall and anyone else involved with the creation of the song Convoy.
Oh, they got a good old convoy, and it's rocking through the galaxy. So as they are walking around, or so as they are talking, Ro starts to feel little pangs of guilt about betraying the people she has started to, well, the one person she has started to really become grown attached to. But she tries to, well, she, tells Picard, "Oh, I'm going to make sure I go through with this. I'm going to do my proper duty for the ship and for you." But everyone else knows different.
Yes, everyone else knows different. So she's walking through. They decide, "Hey, it's Tuesday. Let's party. Let's go get some food. We're going to have a feast."
Oh, yeah, because she returns back to the colony.
Yes, so she's walking around with Grandpa.
Macias, yeah.
Yes, Macias. Walking around with Macias, and all of a sudden, there are three hooded figures, three red hooded figures. You don't see anybody else like this at the colony. If I lived there, which is I've only seen like 30 people, if three new people showed up and they're all wearing red hoods, I would probably at least stop and ask them who they are or what they were doing.
Yeah.
So these guys, they're walking together real slow, and the camera is focusing, our vision is drawn to these guys, so we know something's going to go on. They flip their hoods back. Who is it? It's the Cardassians. And they just start shooting the shit out of people.
Yeah, they really just go to town. And it's, they kind of climb the central steps of the open area, and they just fire down on everybody there.
It's what passes for a action scene
yes.
in Star Trek The Next Generation.
We will move up and shoot down upon you. And action scene. And so Macias was trying to help a colonist who was injured. I think they were injured or something, so he runs over and is shot by a Cardassian. And Ro kills the Cardassian that shot him. And he goes over to Macias, and he looks up, and just before he dies, what does he say?
He's like, "Give my mustache to Trevor."
He says something specifically, doesn't he? He says like something about fighting and being true to yourself.
"Please delete my browser history."
Oh, it was something about when an old fighter dies, another steps up to take his place. And Ro, of course, it's that ending shot of Ro looking up with the tear falling down her face.
Yeah, she's really broke up because her dad basically died twice.
Yeah. And she's disappointing her third father.
Speaking of disappointing her third father, she breaks away from the colony and goes back to the bar where she initially met her Maquis contacts, and there, sitting at the bar, is Patrick Stewart in disguise.
Yeah. And Ro walks in and suggests that she says, like, there's a table in the back, we can go talk intimately, and oh my god.
But it's the worst pickup line ever. She basically goes in and goes, "Hello, you appear to be new here. Let us go and negotiate at this table over here."
Yeah, it's pretty horrible.
I'm just saying that if any hooker came up to me and talked to me the way that Michelle Forbes did, I'd be like,
"Get the fuck out of here."
I know you're a cop.
Yeah, and it's it's exactly that. "Hi, sir. You are new. Let us go speak at this table, privately, where no one can overhear."
So they go back to this little table, and they're immediately, like, just touching and a-groping, and, like, touching foreheads together.
They're practically necking the whole time.
Yeah, so they're like, "We got to put on a show, because, you know, these people that know that I'm part of the Maquis, now I need them to think I'm a prostitute."
And she's like, "Did you bring the money I told you to bring?" He's like, "What?"
He's like, "Oh yeah, how much?
She's like,
how much does a half and half cost to get?"
She's like, "You'll need more than that for a Cleveland steamer, I'm telling you right now."
What if I wanted my eggs Danny Kaye style?
I don't even know what that means.
That's totally getting cut out of the podcast.
Oh my god, that's funny. But no, they're just really all over each other, acting intimately, and she tells Picard she doesn't know where her loyalties are lying.
Yeah, so she's like, "You know, if you don't do this, here's what's going to happen. You're going to have thrown away everything that you've done up to this point, and I'm going to send you before the board of review, and I'm going to have you court-martialed." Which is completely against Picard's character. Like, he would not be like that. Maybe first season Picard, but not like this far in. This whole episode is about building up this father-daughter relationship with him and Ro. So for him to just be like, "I'm just going to throw your career away because you didn't do what I told you to do," it just doesn't feel right.
It really doesn't. It is so out of place for him, because at this point, if she was feeling like, "Oh, I really don't know where my loyalties lie," he would have been like, "Well, what can we do to solve this problem together?" Not, "Well, do what I tell you or you're going to be court-martialed."
And not just that, even if you do what I'm going to told you, since Riker ain't done shit this episode, I'm going to have a crinkle cut put on his nose, and then I'm going to send him with you to the colony, and you just tell people he's your brother.
Yeah, just do that, because that makes sense.
Just do that, because, you keep leaving. It makes sense for you to show up with somebody else.
Be like, oh, yeah, just out of the blue with some amazing ear hardware. So the convoy's going on. The plan is starting to go through. You have the Federation ships hanging out in the nebula, and the convoy attack is imminent. And just at that moment, Ro just snaps and just is like, screw this. She turns on a particle beam toward the nebula, allowing the Maquis ships to see the trap. And not only that, doesn't she, at some point she pulls a gun on Riker too, doesn't she, the phaser?
Yeah, what she does is she actually powers down the engines on her shuttle and sends that beam out to let everybody know, and Frakes is like, what are you doing? And she's like, haha, it's the double cross, Willie.
You didn't see that coming, did you? You look so stupid with your crinkle cut nose and your ear from Radio Shack.
You got plastic surgery for nothing, Billy boy.
A little bit, yeah.
So she explains. There's a little more exposition because this is a talkie, and so they
right.
they tell.
Yeah.
She explains that she has to go with them for the first time in a long time. She feels like she belongs in a way that she never belonged on the Enterprise, even though people were like up her ass at that party at the beginning of the episode. Clearly, no one there liked her.
Well, that and she belonged before too. Like before she left, there were several episodes that pointed out how she was needed and how people liked her on the show. So it's not like she didn't belong. I think at this point it's just, oh, we gotta wrap this up. We want to have her end on like a Kira moment.
Yeah, and it's almost as if they were setting it up where, hey, you never know, we're going to go ahead and we'll put her in the Maquis, since the Maquis kind of figure in a little bit in DS9. Maybe we can give her a guest appearance or two over there.
Yeah. Yeah, and so what happens is they see the Federation and the Nebula, and the fleet just breaks off. They don't cross the border, and Ro transports to Kalita's ship and leaves Riker, and she says to Riker, tell Picard I'm sorry. And then later in Picard's ready room, Riker says Ro felt she thought she was doing the right thing, and here's my report, and he tries to hand it to him, but then like Picard's just so silent and unmoved that he just puts it on his desk and takes off.
Which is ridiculous, which brings up a great point about Next Gen and how they just have a million of those iPads laying around.
They do.
It's like they're single use or something. It's like, just email him.
Yeah. And Picard is just stone-faced, his face filled with anger. And that was it.
It's kind of a strange episode. Like, they just wanted to wrap up the Ensign Ro character, maybe give her another way to be a guest star on DS9, but everything about this just feels weird and stilted and an excuse for Patrick Stewart to paw around on Michelle Forbes.
A little, yeah. I mean, wouldn't you? No, I'm just, it's kind of odd because it's so out of place. This is a very out of place Picard episode. Like, the whole beginning was like the most Picard about him, where he tries to take her aside and talk to her by herself. But the rest of it, like when he goes to, I mean, he wouldn't have gone down to that bar himself to talk to her.
Had he not directed the episode, it would have been Riker at the bar. Yeah.
Or Worf, because Worf could take care of himself. Or, someone that wouldn't put himself, they wouldn't send Picard there for that. Picard wouldn't be like, oh, we're going to put you through a court-martial if you don't go through with the plan. I think even at the end, he would have been more ready to talk to Riker about it. He wouldn't just sit there like, oh, I'm mad now. Because he's not a quiet guy. He's a very logical, thoughtful kind of human being that wouldn't just sit there stone-faced angry. I think he would want to talk about it.
Yeah, I think so too. It's, again, the entire episode just feels like someone described what Picard kind of acts like, and it was just based off DC Fontana scripts.
Man,
Get that child off my bridge!
I can't wait till we get to one of those scripts, because that'll be a fun episode to talk about.
Poor DC Fontana.
I know. All in all, it was an okay episode. It wasn't horrible.
I give it 2 out of 5 tribbles.
2 out of 5 tribbles?
Yes.
I will give it about... Yeah, that sounds about right. 2 out of 5 if we're on a scale of 5.
Introducing our new segment where we rate the episode based on things that happened in the original series.
Yeah, there we go. This one was okay.
As episodes of Next Gen go, this was not one of my favorites. However, one of the next ones is an even better bottle episode.
Oh...
that I just can't wait to share with you guys, because the plotline is Data builds a computer and it just goes bonkers and kind of escapes its original programming.
Well, I mean...
We've never seen that trope in Star Trek before.
I'm excited. I'm excited to watch that one. Again, like, this is all new for me, because I haven't seen... I've seen a beginning a little bit. No, I haven't even seen season 7 at all. I think I'm still... When we first started this, I was still watching season 6. But I've seen most of Next Gen, and I think the only thing I never watched was season 7.
This, I looked at the plot synopsis. I have no memory of watching this episode, so this is going to be great.
That's good. And do we have any potential guests upcoming?
I think we are going to have either next time or the time after, depending on her schedule, the new co-host of the Mystery Science Theater 3000 Revival League podcast, Miss Kate Page.
Oh, nice. Okay. And I know we have someone from the Q Continuum who wants to come on and talk at least once about what we're doing.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to yell out at him from my ready room to see if he's really here or not. But we'll find out. But I know he's interested to come on.
Well, thanks everybody for joining us here at 10 Backward. Again, I'm your host, Ron McAdams.
And I'm James Rohling.
And we'll see you next week.